The New Orleans Pelicans are scratching and clawing to qualify for the Western Conference's play-in tournament in a bid to end a 4-year playoff drought. But all anyone wants to talk about is the absent star contributing nothing to that cause.
Zion Williamson.
Zion Williamson.
Zion Williamson is sending a message. I don't want to be here.
Oft-injured franchise cornerstone Zion Williamson hasn't played in 10 months due to a surgically repaired fractured foot that hasn't healed as expected. And it's still unclear when or if Zion will suit up for the Pels this season. Plenty of ink has been spilled about why Zion might not be happy in New Orleans and what the Pelicans should do to appease him. But we're at the point where the real story should be what Williamson has to do to earn back New Orleans' trust. The Pelicans haven't exactly been a model franchise, so no one's saying they're completely innocent in this mess. In the same 2019 draft that landed them Williamson, David Griffin's Pels traded the number 4 pick, which could have netted New Orleans Darius Garland or DeAndre Hunter, for picks that turned into Jackson Hayes and the since-traded Nickeil Alexander-Walker. In 2020, they traded for and extended the ill-fitting Steven Adams. Then in 2021, they let Lonzo Ball walk as a signed and traded free agent and traded down in the draft in an effort to clear cap space for what any casual observer could have told them was going to be a fruitless pursuit of Kyle Lowry. The thing is, none of those moves were necessarily debilitating, and in a roundabout way, a couple of them led to the acquisitions of CJ McCollum and Jonas Valanciunas, who should be key cogs for New Orleans moving forward. Plus, the Pelicans still have one of the league's most impressive collections of draft capital, and Brandon Ingram has turned himself into a perennial all-star candidate. So the notion that Griffin and company have already failed Zion doesn't exactly add up. Frankly, it'd be more fair to say that Zion has failed the Pelicans in the 3 years since being selected number 1 overall. Now, that doesn't mean the big man isn't still a transcendent talent or doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt when it comes to his injury history. And it certainly doesn't mean he deserves Bush League treatment like this from some segments of the Pelicans fan base. Zion's a uniquely built athlete who's already had to deal with disheartening foot and knee injuries. And when he has stepped on the court, he's been phenomenal, averaging roughly 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists on 60% shooting in less than 32 minutes per game.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
But he's only played 85 games so far, and if he doesn't return this season, Zion will have missed more than 62% of his team's games since they made him the number 1 overall pick. Can you say a player's team has failed him if he's not around to actually be failed? Perhaps if his team mishandled his injuries, then sure, but in the case of the Pelicans, New Orleans has actually been extra cautious with its most prized youngster. An obvious comparison here, and one that Williamson apologists will point to, is the case of Joel Embiid. The 76ers big man missed the entirety of his first 2 seasons due to a fractured right foot that required multiple surgeries, played only 31 games in year 3, then blossomed into a perennial all-star and eventual MVP candidate. But while angst did grow in Philly over those frustrating first 3 years, Embiid wasn't constantly linked to rumors about wanting out before he had even contributed anything.
That's true.
Player empowerment is good, and the league's best players, whose potential earnings are suppressed by max contracts, should wield the power that their excellence affords them. But Williamson hasn't earned the right to thumb his nose at any NBA franchise. It's one thing when LeBron James wants out of Cleveland after elevating what was once a sad sack franchise and dragging the Cavs to contention with little help around him. It's another thing when Zion Williamson seems to be angling his way out of town before he's even cracked the 100-game mark for a franchise that remains a sad sack in part because of his unavailability. Now, it's possible some of the controversy surrounding Zion is much ado about nothing. You could say it's not his fault he has family members reportedly trying to push him out of the Big Easy. Perhaps it's no big deal that he's rehabbing away from the team, or that he failed to reach out to McCollum when the former Blazers star was acquired by the Pelicans. But time and again, the NBA reminds us that where there's smoke, there's usually fire, and that's a lot of smoke. It also speaks volumes that Zion was recently called out by JJ Redick, a fellow Duke alumnus, former Pelicans teammate, and CAA agency mate.
Like, this just shows a complete lack of investment in your team
in the organization, in the city. I get that he's hurt and away from the team, but you just traded for one of the 50 best players in the league, a guy that's supposed to be paired with you. Reach out and say hello. This is a pattern of behavior with Zion that we are seeing again and again. And look, I was his teammate. I can describe him as a detached teammate.
Forget put up or shut up. Williamson needs to put up or speak up at some point. And no, an Instagram story featuring Hayes and Willie Hernangomez doesn't count. Whether Zion returns to the Pels this season or not, things should come to a head soon. The big man's extension eligible this summer, and given the uncertainty surrounding his health, it's no longer realistic that he'd forego an extension this year for the sake of hitting unrestricted free agency in 2024. Still, anything less than a max offer will only drive Zion away. The small market Pelicans can't get cute here if they have any hope of keeping him around for the long haul. But if Zion's plan is to take the money now and force his way out later, the Pelicans should at least consider trading the big man for a king's ransom before committing hundreds of millions of dollars to him. That might have sounded ludicrous even just months ago, but Williamson's absence and the questions surrounding it might be backing the Pelicans into a corner. The Pels have done enough while he's been sidelined to at least build a team the big man can thrive on upon his return. Can we really say Zion has done enough to earn New Orleans' long-term trust and commitment?
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.